And now, AfterBuzz TV's own gorgeous lady of wrestling, TK Trinidad.
Bonjour! You're watching Women's Wrestling Weekly, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, aka the Canadian Assassin, and with me every single week, she hails from the Valley. She is the farmer's daughter. Please welcome Emily Mae.
Hey everyone!
Hi!
I'm happy to be here.
What do you mean you're not going to be here?
No, I'm happy to be here.
Oh, I think you just scared me like that. What do you mean you're not going to be here?
No, I said I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. And we have an amazing show like we always do. We have news and we have stars of the week, etc., etc. However, we have very special guests on the show. I am super excited. So we have WWE Hall of Famer Lita.
What's going on?
Ew. And then we have former Impact and WWE superstar Christy Hemme.
Woo!
And we have, I also say, like, because I'm partial to my Canadians, so 7-time knockout champion and Impact Hall of Famer Gail Kim.
Yes,
Oh my, I love my Canadians. First off, I just want to say thank you, Gail, for coming on the show. I think we were like either episode 2 or 3, and really appreciate you for doing that because you didn't have to. We were just trying to figuring it out. And 2 years later,
to support women's wrestling.
Yes. And then 2 years later, you're sitting on the couch promoting a really great event, which I am not event, a TV show, which I'm really excited about. So
also, Gail has had all this time to steal your moniker, the Canadian Assassin, and she's given you the respect to keep you with that. We can settle it in the ring.
We're gonna have a
really
good.
No,
we're gonna tag team partners.
We're gonna fight in the studio.
We'll go. I don't want to go into too much Canadian talk. Let's get into the show. So, probably a couple weeks ago, I saw the pictures kind of started off. So we had it's Kayfabe, and I was like, wait, what is this? The pictures are amazing. And then shout out to Josh for putting this together because without him, like,
yes, thank you.
Appreciate him for including us in this. But tell us a little bit about the show.
It's a scripted drama inspired by female professional wrestling. And I think, with the photos, it was just meant to disrupt a little bit.
And we did. I think it got everyone buzzing about it, and it did the job. And, we really wanted to create this because women's wrestling has always been told through a man's voice. And this is the first time that we can come together and really tell an authentic view from a women's point of view.
And we'll kind of talk about the
like women's wrestling
stories,
has progressed so much, and then we just thought, what's the next step here? And this just came to us. And
so, any storylines that you're like really anxious to kind of get into once everything's
all
together?
of them.
All of them. There's so many.
It's like
topics.
all bubbling under the surface. All of us are like, there's so much source material to pull from for this show. It's insane.
Are you pulling not only from your real life experience and your stories, but other women in the industry?
This is not a docu or a reality show. It's not. You're not going to look at the show and be like, oh, this is so-and-so story. This is so-and-so story. This is a scripted drama. So we have a writing team. We're putting these stories together, and it's just going to be telling female stories within the business, stuff that we go through in the locker room.
But with around 20 years experience each, it is what we know, what we love. We are very comfortable with all the source material and could be giving limitless inspiration, but definitely collaborating with our writing team and just wanting things to be really well thought out and layered and have a little bit more accurate representation of the layers that we are as women, as opposed to kind of the tropes, the storylines that you've seen for it's like, oh, the spotlight, the jealousy, the crazy person. It's like, no, there's so much more to us than that, and we want you to see what we go through and what we're dealing with outside of the time that we're not in the ring. We all love the ring the action that's inside the ring, and that's super cool to see. But then it's equally interesting seeing what brought you to the dance and your weaknesses, your highs and lows, and all that.
And I think a lot of people were like, oh, is that her story or your story? We're like, no, it wasn't any of our stories. It's just inspiration.
But we could relate to the stories and go, okay, I could see a little bit of myself in that character. I could see a little bit of myself in that character, and it just feels like there's representation.
Yes.
So now I got to see the promo. The promo's amazing. And it kind of seemed, and correct me if I'm wrong, it kind of was like almost like a hybrid of Lucha Underground and Wow and Glow.
Yes.
We love that.
Yes.
Exactly that.
We would say like Glow and Lucha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's got that like
with some like Fight Club or something.
Underground female Fight Club.
Yeah, we watched it and it has that like Fight Club, like the cinematography of the trailer and the music and kind of that vibe. You could feel that undertones.
We took great pride in the production of this. Like, we care very much about producing this in a way that's different, that hasn't been seen in wrestling before. And so, you know, when it comes down to the production team and the cameras and the this and the that, we're like, you know, very particular.
Well, you know, when we're on these weekly episodic shows, the show is being written and changed up until your music hits, and you're doing a pre-tape, and you've got to get it in one take in between entrances, and go. It's like, talk about how jealous and mad you are about this girl. Go. I'm really mad and jealous. Great, we got it. You're moving on, and you don't get a lot of time to flesh out the stories. Right. So that's why we wanted to do this in a series and give our women and actresses and wrestlers time to really dig into the script, be involved in their writing process so that they relate to the story they're trying to portray, and be able to do the stories and our layers justice.
And more than anything, we feel like we've seen a lot of women's wrestling and people creating, recreating, and nothing's been really updated and modern, and I feel like this is
it's time.
Yeah, it's really time.
That was my pet peeve with a lot of female storylines. It's just like, okay, they were best friends, and now they're not best friends anymore. And now they're fighting. It's just kind of like, how many times are we going to do this? Like, I have really great female friends that we've never fought.
Or
like
they're
that.
fighting over a boy.
Yeah,
It's like
it's kind of one of those things.
Well, it's in those storylines, there's usually a layer below it. It's not just we were best friends and we weren't best friends. Like, I just don't like you anymore. It's like there's so much to that narrative and that story, and we don't ever get to see that in wrestling.
Yes, let's speak to that, because that's my biggest gripe with, we have so many, we're on like 110 episodes so far as female wrestlers that we've interviewed, and it's just kind of like some of the storylines are just not that good. Now, you guys, you know, you said about 20 years between, or not between the three, collectively, or individually.
Collectively, we're like over 50 or something.
Individually. But kind of speak to like the writer's room as far as in, you know, those promotions and how they're missing the mark, and, you know, what do you suggest they do? Obviously not do what you guys are doing, but
I wouldn't say they're necessarily missing the mark. Wrestling has been the same and done the same thing for a really long time. So yeah, we would like to see more representation of women in wrestling, but there's also not women in creative. It's very seldom. Like, I was the first woman in Impact Wrestling to be in creative. So I spent a lot of time in that writer's room, sitting in the back, listening and interjecting when it felt appropriate. But it's hard to have a voice in that room when it's the first time you've ever done it, and it's the first time they're letting it happen. So, and you have to be told okay to walk into the door. So I think that the world is changing, and that's allowing us to come out and start being more involved in this side of production. And for us three, it's so difficult.
And we were saying when we started this project, and we wanted more women involved, but the problem was there weren't many women with experience. We wanted the best team that we could pick from. So, I mean, this is what we want to make strides in, and to bring in more women and to give them that experience, while we also have the experienced people around us to make us the best team.
Like Alicia. Alicia Edwards, she's a PA on Kayfabe, and she has so much passion and drive. When she goes to work at Impact Wrestling, she's like, how can I help? How can I do this? How can I do this?
Bring the girls together?
A person like that wants to learn, and they want to grow. You give them the ball, you let them start where they can fit right now, and then we'll develop her.
Yes.
I think you can probably speak to this, and you touched on it. When you are in the production meeting, which we all three have been, you're in the formula, right? So there's like formulas of the way the writers are to write stories for both the males and females, and you can give your input. But it's been so long, like the formula's established, right? And so I felt like being able to make like just a tiny bit of improvement when I was involved, but I was like, but is it like really helping things in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. And then going back to when I was wrestling, all I could really control, I could give my input, but all I could really control was that time when I was in the live ring. And so I think that also motivated us to go, well, why do we have to be a part of the existing system of how, you know, and being a cog in a wheel? Let's be the wheel. and let's change the way things are done on our show.
Okay.
I love that. I got to write that in our notes.
It's recorded, so we can 15 minutes
go
in.
back.
So question in Impact and WWE respectively, are there any female writers in the writer room currently that you know of?
No.
There's one I know in WWE. I don't know if today she has a job, but last time I saw she did. But her name was Jen, and it's also
Jen.
very
Bloodsworth?
no.
Oh, okay, another Jen.
Very hard because you're also just one person. So same as I was the only female producer in the room, and I can give my vote, and even if my vote counts equally, there's 10 other males who have that vote, and they're just not going to see things from the same perspective. So while they might go, all right, valid, but anyways, you're already outvoted. So it can just be really difficult to make progress, even if you are coming from with good intention.
Yeah, I mean I've been in rooms in production meetings where you really are like the only female representation, and it is a really tough room to try to get some creative headway. What do you recommend for producers, for writers in any type of industry, not just wrestling, to help kind of get their voice out there?
So this is so difficult and a really great topic. We could all probably spend the entire show talking about this, right? Because it's such a thing of pick your battles, but there's like so many battles. Yeah. So for me, or people with opinions, right? Like you want to be like, but also this and all this. I got another idea. I got this, but then you're gonna not be listened to. So you have to really. More so than these guys that are already in the system, because they're like, I'm already used to hearing your opinions. It's like, not only do you have to wait to pick your spot, it has to be so flawlessly hashed out and ready to go where it can be hard to poke holes in it, where even if they don't go with ultimately your suggestion, they're still going to go, all right, that was... Granted, I'll give you that. That was a good suggestion. We're not going to use it today. And I did get that a lot in the meetings. They're like, oh, that was good. Not what we're doing today, but noted. And I felt like that wasn't. And Gail, I want you to talk about when you were in the truck having to give direction and you were being told to be more stern.
Yeah, so I'm a very direct person and very vocal, but going on to the other side of becoming a producer is the same thing, picking your battles and learning how to handle each challenge. And I've learned really just to handle it one person at a time kind of thing. But yeah, I've been told, you need to be more aggressive. I'm like, yeah, I am pretty direct, but if I yell and I'm aggressive, then I'm a bitch.
Yeah.
It's like I have to walk that fine line of how I'm perceived. And I just remember how I was perceived as a wrestler. And, I went through a lot of experiences. And I remember as a wrestler, this is a quick story, but a photographer I had worked with for years, I finally got into a room alone with him, and he said, oh, well, you're not a bitch after all. And I said, excuse me? I said, excuse me? And he said, yeah, this is the perception of you. And it was like all this little, it turned into a little hill into, or what's the
molehill?
Yeah.
A molehill.
Yeah. And I said, well, where's this coming from? Because I thought I was always professional. And he goes, well, it's because you're serious backstage and you never smile. And I was like, because I'm in the zone of my work zone, and I am very serious about my job. I will admit that, because I want to be perfect and I'm trying to do my best. And then they perceived it as I'm a bitch or spoiled or whatever it was. And I was like, wow. And so I really did take that advice. And then I went into work and had a smile on my face all the time. And I did notice how people perceived me. So I didn't want to change completely who I was, but I had to really be open-minded to how I was perceived.
Yeah.
And
It's so for me, this is a lot to do with the tape. That tape for me, the representation for me was, I feel like I always have to think about how I am. I know who I am, but I think a lot about how I'm going to present, you know what I mean? And I think we do it because it's the like a lady, the Cynthia Nixon.
Like a lady.
Yeah.
Don't be this, don't be this, don't be, if I do this, then I'm this. If I do this, I'm this. Women are constantly doing that, and I feel that pressure of that tape over my mouth that I have to think about things so much. The whole point of all this past couple of years, all this change and women saying they don't want to be silenced, it's like I would like other people to see that is what we're trying to peel back and come out of. That's what I hear with that.
Yeah, totally. And also that, being in a room or being one of the only women or the only woman, it's like we're so passionate about wrestling, right? That's why we're there. That's why it's worth fighting for. That's why it's worth trying to make little changes. But so we're passionate, but then you're leading, it's like, don't lead with your emotions. Don't be emotional. And it's like, but I'm so passionate. I really want to do this for the greater good, or for this person that I know is working so hard. I'd love them to be represented differently. And it can come across too aggressive, too assertive, this and that. And so it's a hard,
frustrating
balance.
It's so frustrating.
I feel like I'm 43 years old. Why do I have to be so careful all the time? I just want to be me and do what I love.
So here we are, right? We are very real with each other, and it's been a really nice growth process. We have 3 very different opinions and have different backgrounds, and the respect that we have, we know that it's all for the greater good of our show that we're working on. We know that we respect each other, so we don't have to go, well, I hope Christy doesn't think I'm being too strong or too mean, or hopes that thinks that I'm trying to position myself. It's like, no, we just say what we mean, say how we feel, talk it out. We were on FaceTime, and our men were listening. They're like, whoa, you guys are intense. Like, they thought it sounded to them like we were in a fight. Right? We're like, no, we were just being like, we're impassioned about what we were talking about.
Yeah. It's kind of frustrating, because it's like we go through that. I don't know if you guys had a chance to. It's not wrestling, but just got a chance to watch Hillary Clinton's documentary on Hulu, and she was talking about that through the campaign, and Elizabeth Warren talked about that, and that's women who are older, and they're still, and it's just kind of one of those things that you hope that it's going to change, at some point. However, the great thing about you guys is you're creating your own lane. Yeah. And so, as far as writing, will you guys hire more female writers, or how's the writing going to take place?
Also, create your own lane. You're going to write that down in your notes.
We're going to drive our own lane, create our own lanes.
So I've been writing for a really long time. I went to screenwriting school, and then we have a lot of friends that are writers and people that we admire and respect, and we've pulled together a small writing team right now. Once we get picked up, and once we are going to develop a whole season, we'll pull in more expression, more perspectives. I think the writing room should be very diverse. And that's just going to be the reach of having the money to, pay people, really.
Speaking of money,
we need money.
Yes.
You need money. You're raising money.
We need money.
Where can people find the Kickstarter and donate and all that good stuff?
If you go to Kickstarter, you just search Kayfabe, and it'll come right up.
So we have direct links also on our social media profiles, and you can go to @ThisIsKayfabe on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We got it all.
I thought you were going to say
I wanted to speak to your initial question about having women in the production on a larger scale, both in front and behind the scenes. Obviously, in front of the camera will be very heavy on women. We'll have the males will be our supporting cast, as opposed to vice versa, how it normally is. But I think, just like Christy was talking about with Alicia, somebody who's shown interest and wants to be in it, it's to find women that are interested and maybe don't have the experience yet, where we can put them in roles that they can grow and develop, while still maintaining the integrity of having the best of the best at the helm to lead people and create new positions for people that want to transition to behind the camera.
Yeah, we don't want it to tip the scale of go the other direction of we're just going to hire all women. It's about hiring for, same with wrestling. The reason we're asking and want equality is that it's for the position, the job that you do. And we want to give that platform for all diversity to just grow into that.
Right. And we thought about that, and we brought in all these guys, and we're like, these are the men. It's important for us to show the men that are supporting the women as well. And our team was, like we always say, it was our first choices, and they all wanted to come aboard, and they all have the same energy and vibe and want to support us in women's wrestling.
You talked about the Hillary Clinton documentary, going to the RGB documentary, right? It was so much about how her success. A lot of it was from her husband believing in her so much and pushing through. So it is really nice to have these experienced men who already have their connections, and they're already taken seriously, and they're already, but to have their support and they believe in us.
Yeah. And listen, the truth be told, it does matter. Like having support, having people support us in that way, it like does make a big difference, because we fight and we do it every day, and one's low and two are high and two's low and one is high. You know, it's like we're this constant team and system of like, just we see the vision, let's go and make it happen.
So once you get the money, is the game plan to have a live audience, like almost like what Lucha did, or are you going to just do a couple episodes and then try to sell it? Or what's kind of the game plan with that?
We serve the story. So based on the story that's going to be written, we'll do all of our wrestling like a show within, you know, a couple days or whatever, and then we'll shoot everything else outside of that. So Lucha's going to be heavier on wrestling than this show.
The concept I'm like so excited about.
Yeah, good.
I
know,
We'll be
it's
back
so
on
exciting.
with the finished project
It's
so
so
that you
exciting.
can see it.
So as far as let's kind of go back to talking about wrestling, female wrestlers. You already have some people tapped in to be part of Kayfabe. If contracts weren't an issue,
Right.
kind of like just put it in the universe. If contracts weren't an issue, are there people that you kind of want?
So many.
All the
my
time.
God.
And
Want involved,
so
yeah.
we've been talking
literally-
about the show for 2 years. So,
Yeah.
like,
It's
you know, there's
changed a
been
lot.
so many people that, of course, have then got under contract, and then people that have come out of contract, you know, at the same time. It's
I mean, our lists have changed, but now we just realize, okay, you know what? We can't have a list. And then there's always potential of new talent. And I'm always going to these seminars, like Rise seminars, and seeing who's out in the indies, because Impact Wrestling does a lot of combined shows. And I love seeing who's out there. I'm like, oh, this girl, I don't even know. I'll tell them about it, like this girl. And because women's wrestling has progressed so much, there's other younger generations being inspired, and there's brings in more wrestlers and more wrestlers. So I
The
feel
ones
like
I'm
it's
the
limitless.
most drawn to are the ones that really share like some of those important things in life. So like we were just talking about this yesterday, Mia Yim.
Yeah.
The stuff that she shares, I'm like, God, I would love to tell that story, especially with her, because she wants to, and it's important to her. If there was stuff like that, I would just love to put that on the show, you know?
So as far as we could talk about Mia Yim, and as far as diversity as well, as far as female wrestlers, I've heard you, Gail, I think it was within the last 2 years during interviews, like you feel like we're not using them correctly. We're playing more to the stereotypes.
Yes.
So how would you like change
I think it's
that?
gotten better. I definitely think it's gotten better from the time that when I started. So we've made some progress. I would like to see where someone's just seen for who they are and not really necessarily for their ethnicity or a business standpoint of, oh, we need, someone from India or we need someone from China or whatever. And that's going to help our business. But, the talent of that person and what they have to contribute. And I'd love to see someone of ethnicity, if they're talented enough and they're capable of it, to be the face of the company. I would love to see that one day.
That's what I'm hoping for.
As you're looking, you're looking at wrestling talent all over the country, all over the world, all over the world in the independent circuit. What are those values? You talked about values that you look to in a wrestler when you. And a new talent and a potential hire.
I think you just know when you're watching them. It's like kind of watching. You could say this for any student or person that walks in. You see them bumping for the first time, and you just kind of have that instinct of whether you think they're gonna last or if they have natural ability. And sometimes people surprise you too. I mean,
for me, in regards to like the morals or the being in alignment with what we're doing. With every single team member, when we call them, the first thing I would do is ask them questions and just find out the person that they are and get that sense of, oh, they could see this would be something that would be a fit. Now, granted, every person we called, I already knew that they would be because I was like, we know who the human is. So I think in regards to like the women, especially the ones that we don't know, I think it would be like a feeling out process because it's important that they also see this show to us is more important than just creating a cool looking show. It means something to us and we want to say something with it. So them having that kind of voice that wants to speak as well, I think is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did the first Mae Young Classic, and there were a lot of fresh faces that we didn't know, and so JR and I took, I forget how long it was. It felt like a long time because we had individual meetings, like anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes with each girl and asking, I don't need to know the names of your moves if you want to give those to me, that's fine. But I want to know, why are you here? What got you here? What drives you? What are your next goals? And so then, and I found myself, it's like the people I felt more attached to, I just felt it was easier for me to speak about them, because I felt like, you know, you're commentating, you're speaking on behalf of that person, which is like it felt like a very heavy cross to bear, because I was like, I want to do right by these people. They gave me information. I want to tell their story properly. And I do see that with Kayfabe, especially in these early seasons, it's going to be a smaller roster and a smaller locker room, and our team is so pure right now, and we all know, and so to keep that, like, one bad apple spoils it, right? And so because there is so much talent out there right now, it's going to be easy for us to go, that's okay, that person's awesome, but they don't line up with it's going to rock the boat in a bad way. Let's keep everybody with the messaging clear and feeling like they can just feel comfortable.
That's a good thing about having so many female wrestlers. Now, going back to Mae Young, I covered both seasons and Evolution. I don't know if you can speak to any word of it ever coming back.
Dude, why is it not back?
I know. We're like,
I mean, you have more context than I do. That's why I just.
Okay, yeah. Let me work on this. But I mean, it's like, so Mae Young I felt like got so much positive feedback.
It did. Everyone loved it.
Evolution was sold out.
Yes.
I mean, I've. Granted, you know, you can't look on your own timeline for how people feel, because they're like, you're so great. I'm like, oh, everyone loved it. But from what I got, everybody responded really positively to it. Even just financially, it was sold out. Like, I don't understand why there is not another Evolution, why it didn't make the regular pay-per-view cut. It was really shocking to me.
It's like what DS said. So DS is our creative content director.
He does ring the bell.
He does ring the bell, and so he was like, it was like the height of my women's wrestling passion and joy that this happened, and then it has not happened again.
Because it brought so many female wrestlers that you knew or didn't know, and it brought them to the forefront. A lot of them who were part of that are either signed to WWE or Impact or ORH, and you've seen their star, rise, and it was such an amazing event, because of that, just like DS, like I truly you kind of sunk your teeth into being a women's wrestling fan, and you saw like everything come into light based off of what you guys have done, you know, historically, and seeing what everything.
But it was a thing for the fans. It
hasn't been back in 2 years.
There was a second one, and then there just wasn't a third or fourth. But it's like Tough Enough, right? Like there's seasons, but they're just like
sporadic.
Well,
Whenever we need talent, we just do.
So once the show gets the money and gets picked up, what's your, like, do you have a timeline as far as, okay, it'll be out by the end of 2021, or do you kind of have that, the breakdown with that?
We would like to start.
Yeah,
I know. We're like, tomorrow.
As soon as possible.
We would like to start shooting by the end of summer and get it out as soon as possible.
Okay.
That would be
in this
ideal.
year. That's when we want it.
Is your hope, do you have a platform in mind that you want to?
Well,
we want it to
Netflix,
be
Amazon,
streaming,
Hulu, Apple TV.
anything.
Yeah, streaming, like a major streaming platform, I think it would lend itself best, so you can binge it, and we're gonna have a season where there's a payoff at the end, and it's meant to just kind of be consumed all at once if you want, or you know.
And we want it to be a little edgy and racy, and
a little, a lot.
Will you guys be in some of the episodes?
No,
but just behind.
Okay, look, see the disappointment. So it is up for debate. We had said if there's like an Easter egg or like a cameo.
Okay,
just for
cameo.
fun.
No,
just for
a
fun.
cameo?
we will do whatever
is best for story,
the
right?
story and product. But it is hard to balance being on camera and behind the camera. And
my personal self is dying to see these two on.
I think so.
So if it could happen,
I love being behind the camera.
And that I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
see the eyes of
TK's all sad now.
Look at the eyes of heartbreak.
I'm just saying, it's like, you know, Spike Lee is an amazing director. Yeah. He's won an Oscar for it, but even Stanley, he, you know, did a little
cameo.
Did a little something.
Cameo.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Banks, she balances
So
her
agree.
production company
not a
and being on
full thing,
camera.
just, you know,
we
more,
can do cameos.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just
Look.
If people
You
ask
should
for
do
it,
it.
we can
I'm
do
just
it.
saying.
We convinced them.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, Impact Wrestling will be like, hey, Gail, can you do this pre-tape? I'm like, hair and makeup, an hour and a half. You know?
Is there anybody else that, you know, you're looking into do as far as doing cameos? Like, I'm thinking another Torontonian Trish.
Oh,
Sure,
yeah.
She's willing to do it. Hell yeah.
Bestie.
Of course.
What do you think?
I got connections to that cameo.
I know. That's
You
why I
guys
threw
can
it
do
out
the best
there.
friend storyline and not be best friends.
And then she can like steal my bag of potato chips, and it's just like
It's
Yeah.
over. It's
Don't
over.
fight over the ketchup chips. Okay?
Ketchup chips.
I
Oh, yeah.
brought these all the way from
Did you
Canada.
really just say
I
ketchup
did.
chips?
I did.
So who? Okay, so I've seen a
Can
lot
we
of different.
pause? I'm for ketchup chips.
I love ketchup
Yes.
chips.
I like
Who doesn't
ketchup
like
chips.
What's your
chips
favorite
too.
brand?
But it's just kind of one of the
They
fact that
came
you
out
know
with
about it.
ketchup Doritos in Canada.
Really? When?
And I tried them, and I'm not a potato chip girl, but I'm like, I have to try this.
the ketchup.
And
You
it was
have
just
to.
kind of like disappointing.
How
I
about,
like
like,
ketchup
the-
chips better than ketchup
ketchup chips
Doritos.
and Smarties. Please
Oh,
send my.
yes. I love
Smarties.
Yes. Care
Tracy
package.
Brooks
Oh,
loves
you
them.
mean Canadian Smarties? Oh,
Yes.
M&M's,
Yeah,
space
Chocolate.
chocolate.
Canadian
No,
Smarties.
they're
not
not
the real
M&Ms,
Smarties.
yes,
Yes, that.
yes.
that
not the
that
chalky
one.
candy.
Yes. But they have all dressed too.
Sorry,
Never mind,
TK.
we're going to flavors now.
Shiny thing.
Okay, so
We just started a food
I
show.
know, we started-
What women eat.
so I know I've seen it
gotta
because
do
you guys
that
been
show.
you should you guys done a world war tour. You guys are doing 36 dates. This is day 10, I think
Day
you said
10,
it was.
yeah.
You guys were asked this question, but not in this form. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore
Oh,
as far as
boy.
female wrestlers?
Oof. Gosh.
For sure, these two.
Oh my God, she just took half her Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
Right?
You like filled your Mount Rushmore almost already.
Yes. Yes. That's what. Yes.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'd add Molly Holly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
She
a good one.
inspired me a lot. And she's a great person, and that is important to me. She, at that time, there were, I mean, for someone to be in WWE and meet an indie girl and go out of her way to help someone, that always stayed with me forever. And I was like, I tried to pass that along. And, you know, certain people, the way that they handle situations and the way they are with fans, and like her and Kurt Angle are the two for me that I just admire a lot for the human beings that they are.
So I think we need two
Two more. Who else?
We have to make one collective Mount Rushmore, and Christy
Okay.
took half of it. Yes. I don't really feel
do
like
individual. You can do individual. Yeah.
Pick one. Well, I picked one. She picked two.
Okay. I'm gonna go. I want China on there.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a good one.
I want Becky on there.
Yes.
She's made huge strides.
I want. Shit. So I want Luna on there, and that's more personal. Reads like she was very. She's cool. She's just cool. She's underrated, and she doesn't get like
The love.
that she deserves. And you know, you can have my last spot.
I picked one.
You pick. Okay, I'll put Molly Holly.
Yeah.
You can we be on that
Yeah,
one? Are you on board with
What
that?
about Beth? Because she's kind of in
Beth is a good
between.
one too.
Oh, she'd be like the bridge.
She's a
of
bridge,
the-
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine
I will
with
say
that.
she's one of the few. Once I got confident in the ring, where I felt like I always had to be the leader. She was the one. She was the one I remember being like, "Oh, I can lead. She can lead me. Like I'm okay with that." You know, like I felt confident.
Have you
in
been
her,
to
yeah.
Mount Rushmore?
No, I want to
I
go.
haven't.
Okay,
Okay.
so the busts, they're
Yeah.
really small.
Oh, they
and it's a
are?
really big mountain, so there's actually
Really?
room for a lot more.
That's
heads on
let's
there.
add.
So
Just don't put funny
I
people
gotta
in there.
go. Yeah.
Now,
it's gonna look like a chair, like a pay-per-view chair. This is just
Like
gonna be
that's
like
everybody
faces
sees.
all over.
and so now Hall of Fame. So we'll talk about just Hall of Fame in general. Who do you think is underrated? Who should be in the Hall of Fame?
Molly hasn't gone in, right?
China. By herself.
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
Gone
Yes,
in
by
by
herself.
herself yet?
She got in with DX,
DX, yeah.
last
Yeah, you're
last
right.
year,
Yeah.
but
I agree with that.
Do you think
China,
that's going to happen?
I'm gonna say yes, just because I want to put it out there.
Okay, we'll put it in the.
But
yes.
I'm not
One
saying that
day.
necessarily because I think that. I'm putting it to get it out there. Yes.
I think
It's
one
gonna
day
happen.
It will happen.
So Hall of Fame is supposed to be coming up. As
I
you
don't
know.
think it's gonna happen.
Do you? Yeah, that's the question. Do you think it's gonna? Because today, as of today, almost every sports on
MLB, NBA.
NFL.
all
Okay,
the
so,
legs,
everything.
so I think wrestling with no crowd is super weird. I think they could still do a cool, classy Hall of Fame thing in a closed set that could still feel like you did it justice
Right.
and whatever. So let's just say Hall of Fame could still happen.
But they're talking about social separation, where you're
Social,
like
yeah.
three
3 feet
feet
away.
away from everybody. So that's like my.
You mean like there's one person in the.
Yeah.
Like we're okay.
So we're like here.
we're okay, but you guys
We're
are
not
not
okay.
okay. Yeah. So I'm wondering if they're gonna do that because that's my concern because I'm planning to go down, but I'm just like that's a lot of people.
It's
We all need a Pope mobile.
Or they can all wear the hazmat
all in the
suits.
hazmat suits and a big bubble.
Bubble
just
boy.
roll down
And
the
then
street.
dress it
Bubble
up.
boy.
I was
Now-
like,
Those like inflatable hamster we just like roll through.
Yeah, and you can like
that sumo suits.
bedazzle it.
Or like
yeah.
the beekeeper things, you can wear that.
Wear the
too.
So
giant-
many options.
wear the
why
giant
why is
T-Rex
anybody
suits.
canceling anything with all these options? They just needed this think tank before they started pulling the plugs on things.
Are you guys planning on going? Because it's not just WrestleMania. There's a whole like
There's all
WrestleCon
tons
and
of
everything.
access
I
and-
think
Yeah,
it's gonna be
I mean-
canceled. I hope it's not. But
Right now, we are.
Yeah, we
Yes.
are
Going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
We're
I
planning
think
to.
we're going to see what
We'll
happens.
see what happens.
We got to go with the flow on this one.
We just did TMZ and they said that they're on. What did they say? That they haven't canceled
In a
anything
week,
yet. Yeah.
next Thursday?
Yeah.
Or, next Thursday.
I
They're
think
gonna,
They're looking
Really?
over
Or
the
was that-
situation.
okay.
They said it hasn't been canceled yet. So.
Yeah, the WrestleMania. I think
Yeah.
you got some
TBD.
news on that.
Yeah, it's still TBD right now.
Yeah.
Like Tampa officials are kind of trying to see if they'll proceed.
I feel like no one wants
But-
to be the bad guy,
Yeah.
and say this is what needs to
But
happen.
the problem is they already canceled flights from Europe, and a lot of our fans, that's
Are
a
from-
big chunk,
Yeah.
are coming from
Oh
Europe.
yeah,
That's
that's
true.
like less than 30, and it's 30 days. So
It's
it's
30 less than 30 days. So that's
That international crowd is a big part of it. So
yikes.
yeah.
I feel bad for the
We'll
wrestlers.
see.
Yeah.
I mean, the most
You know?
important thing is just to like have the fans be safe, everyone be
Yes.
safe,
Yeah.
and take care of each other, and
and live to go to another
and
WrestleMania.
live to go to another
Yeah.
WrestleMania because
Exactly.
it's yes, it's once in a
Once a year.
once a year, but and it is once in a lifetime moments for a lot of these fans and wrestlers. But
Yeah.
you also have to like take care of each other.
yes,
And
exactly.
I don't know. What I'm
never
doing.
experienced anything like this,
This is
before. It's
crazy.
so
Yeah.
weird.
it's really kind of an out of body experience.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
It
a
is.
movie.
Well,
It
I
is
feel
like a
like,
movie.
like I am such not an alarmist that I'll just go with the flow. But yes, last night when they started to cancel all the basketball, and we were at ESPN at the time, like when that
Oh.
news was coming
Yeah.
in, and I felt like it kind of did turn the corner of just like whatever, people are being all crazy to like, all right, like
Okay.
There's
maybe
something a
like
little more here.
where's that hand sanitizer?
I think for me, when I walked into the grocery store and every lane was taken up and it was going all the way to the back of the aisles, where I just walked down, like I'm glad I have food and I'm just not gonna have cereal tomorrow. But it just made it very real to
Yeah.
me that because I saw the Instagram post of the toilet paper and
Yes.
the water, but it just made it very real to me that people were legitimately,
Stocking up.
and it was like 10:30, so it was kind of crazy as far as that, but it's kind of
I know.
We just need the
It's-
cure.
Yeah,
That's why we need the virus cure.
hopefully there is, or go
Or
to
the
Canada.
beekeeper suit, or the bubble, or
yeah.
all the other options.
Now, as far as upcoming female wrestlers, is there anybody that you're kind of looking at that you're like, oh, I can't wait till like she peaks, or like you can't wait to see what happens with her?
Ask Gail.
yeah.
You mean on the indie scene or even on Impact
Any-
Wrestling?
anywhere.
Oh, I
Anywhere.
almost made a spoiler alert there. Oh,
Whoa,
no, I
better
just
stop.
stopped myself in my brain.
Let's see, Leilani. Have you seen? She's in New Zealand.
Yes.
I met her in New Zealand, but she started to come to do some shots over here in the States, and she's still really developing. But I really want to see where she goes. She has like I went to meet her. We had talked on direct message, and I was coming to New Zealand, and I was like, oh, like let's grab some coffee or something, and I saw her. You know, you don't know like how someone's gonna look from their Instagram
yeah.
to whatever, and I saw her like a block away, and I was like, oh my god, like I got starstruck. I was like, she has just like a very like star quality. Granted, she had on like a fishnet crop top, and like her hair is all like fountain style, but I was like, oh my gosh, there she is. It was cool to feel that like she feels like a
Fabulous.
star, so that's cool.
So Leilani, okay, put down.
There's so many people, but I do feel like every time I see a girl of potential, she gets signed. Like right now, it's happening because there's AEW, NXT.
there's so
so much. So I feel like anyone of potential, if they get a little bit of buzz, then they're snatched up.
That's my frustration. So maybe I'm hoping it's not just me. So for instance, Chelsea Green, who's on Impact, another Canadian, she got signed, and I feel like sometimes. In particular with WWE's, like they sign all this amazing talent, and I can't
Agreed.
wait to see them, especially if they've been on the indie circuit for a long period of time. And then you either one, don't see them, or two, they do some version of that's just not working for them or the audience.
Well, with her,
Oh, we saw
I
her
was obsessed
shine.
with that character
Yeah.
and everything that she was, and then now we don't see it anymore. And I'm like, oh my god, that was like
Something
what
totally
I was so
different.
into
Yeah.
it.
It's totally,
She was
yeah.
so good at it too. I was like,
And it was her baby, right?
Yeah,
like
she decided to go down that road, and then they just were like, okay, and then she nailed it every time. I'm like, wow. And yeah, I would love to. She's working with Robbie E now, so I mean, there's a good dynamic there because normally you don't see many like Taya's doing it right now with Johnny Bravo, where there's a female wrestler and a male manager. So I like that, but I want her to be free with her character, and be able to be who she wants to be. And
a character that I'm really curious about is Priscilla Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah, they haven't.
Like it's very
talked about
that is something that was extremely polarizing,
Right.
Or was like
It's
disruptive.
Yeah,
It was very disruptive, yeah.
And at the time that all that stuff happened, and it was
That stuff
controversial.
being
The
referring to
tampon.
when she
the tampon
yes.
spot. It was very controversial, and I even commented on it, and I was like, "Whoa, you don't need to do that. That was
Yeah,
kind of
but
gross."
I mean, it is controversial. But then you have Joey Ryan pulling out lollipops from the same area.
yeah, I think
doing it.
in the back of. I can't give away his gimmick too. Well, there's this backstory to that, but I will say that Christy
Offline.
and Amy both, like this is why this dynamic is so good. Sometimes when I'm like, oh, that was unhygienic, and she could have just told a story in another way. They did make me see another view of it, and they're like, well, she's like, that was disruptive, that was cool, and I was like, yeah, okay, and just like how it could apply to Kayfabe, and she could tell her story of why, and
Well, if you watch her interviews and you watch what she thinks, I'm very fascinated by the human being she is and the way she looks at and why she did it. You know, so that's what was so curious for me. Like I was just like, wow, that's. And I didn't look at it that way.
I never saw it that way either, and so I'm glad she opened my eyes. And she was always accepting because she was like, that's cool and being your own person.
Right.
And that's why I love it. I love to hear another perspective and think of it in a different way. And, I don't want her to think I don't want her to ever think that I was hating her or anything like that. No,
understanding for it,
I was just like, oh, you don't
For
have to
sure,
do
you're
that.
never going to do that in one of your
Yeah.
matches,
Yeah.
and that's
I-
okay.
and that's okay. And now I understand. Okay, she's a different person. She's her own person. And
So you just
expressed
said one
herself.
of your matches. So I know you guys are like semi-retired. Is there any official retirement or incoming?
Retired.
Really?
Look how bummed.
Is there not like a reunion special gonna?
There was
You know-
at WrestleCon, but that's not happening. Oh, actually,
I mean,
Let's-
Evolution comes back
let's
again.
fire up that Evolution too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm
Gotta
just-
get that on the docket first, and
Right.
then we can discuss.
so you would do it? You would wrestle again?
I would wrestle another match if I felt good about it. I don't feel the need to. I feel satisfied with my career. But if there was something fun and that I had time to prepare, I'm not opposed to it.
Okay.
A one-off.
Yeah, I would not do a match, but I would do like a spot.
It
a
was
run-in.
so fun when we did Evolution. We were first match and to be a tag team and with
Yeah.
Trish, and there was the crowd was so hot, so we just went out there and we just had like a fun, simple match. It
Right.
wasn't supposed to blow anybody's mind. It's like, cool, I get to see them out in the ring doing their thing. Awesome. Set up the rest of the show to go, and then we're done. Pressure's off, and we got to just sit there and watch everybody with no pressure. And I mean, Evolution was one of those I had fun. A lot of times you don't get to because you're like, oh, I got so busy, or I got caught up, or I was nervous, or that. I was like, I had a good time. It was fun, and so yes, that's why that leads me to go. Yeah, I would do it. I would do it again because I had fun.
So you're probably coming out for Evolution once it happens, and Kayfabe in some way, shape, or form.
You just booked us. we got to
She's making it happen. She's just
I
like, yeah, it's
mean,
gonna
if it's
happen.
your show and you guys are wrestlers, you at least should do a little
spot.
a little something.
I wouldn't wrestle a match, an official match. I've definitely 100% committed to
Just
that.
watch her eyes though when you
I'm
finish
thinking.
that sentence.
I have an
Do
idea.
you know why though?
Okay.
Why?
Because once I retired and had the closure that I wanted to my career, which is very rare to have the closure that you want. I don't want fans to remember anything but the best. For me, this is my personal view. And it was really hard to have that last match with Tessa Blanchard. I trained my ass off, to be able to keep up with a 24-year-old supreme athlete and be able to show that I can still go. I'm 43. I'm mentally shut off, and I don't want fans to remember anything but. Okay. And that's just for me. I'm crazy.
Okay, so I have an idea. So you won't wrestle in the ring.
Yeah.
However, but maybe like backstage something happens.
A brawl?
Yeah, not necessarily a brawl
Sure.
brawl, but like say like, you know, somebody questions your authority and then you have to put them in their place.
Oh, sure, no problem with that.
Yeah.
As long as it's
And
not
I
an
mean-
official
yeah.
match.
I mean, like NXT last night had like the biggest brawl backstage. They
Yeah?
destroyed
Yeah.
the performance center.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. You should
Okay, I
watch
need
it.
to
It was
see
rough.
this. Who was it?
It was Gargano and Ciampa.
Oh,
They,
I
like,
thought you meant
destroyed
two
it.
girls.
Oh,
I'm
no,
like, I
not
want to see two girls
Sorry.
destroy
Yeah,
it.
no, I wish it was two girls. That would have been amazing.
I'm just
They have a
putting
lot
it
of
out there.
talented girls
Chrissy?
down there.
Yeah. Any?
In ring like a match?
Yeah.
No.
Are your kids gonna make an appearance?
No.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Yeah, I can't say never,
Yeah.
but no, as a match, no. Like
Okay.
I haven't been in the ring in so long. My neck is so not good.
Okay.
It's like just not a good idea. It doesn't serve the story or the show in any way, shape, or form.
One kick to the stomach would be.
I'm okay with that.
Ideal.
Yeah.
See, we're finding little.
She's just finding the way.
Finding little
I'm just you know just
compromises.
putting just you'll have this show and you could just reference it.
Yes. Yeah.
I just want to watch it. It's like that was I put that idea out there. I know,
And maybe I
appreciate-
can hit something.
Yes.
Yes, you have to hit
Yes,
something.
I do
Yes.
like that.
You can slap me if you want.
Yes.
I'm worried about these production meetings.
Okay, so for people who are just joining us, which I don't know why you're just joining us, but let's put out the Kickstarter for folks so they can go and donate like ASAP, like right now. So let's tell them where to find that.
You can go to the Kickstarter page, kickstarter.com, and then just throw in the word Kayfabe, and we'll come up there.
And you have some amazing perks, right?
Yeah, we have a bunch of fun rewards, but then people that have supported us have been like, hey, can I throw in an 8x10? Can I throw it and stuff? And people were adding that stuff too. So that has been a cool way that our friends in the business have been supporting us.
And we've said also, like, for people, we've had a lot of fans, and Amy has mentioned this to everybody as well. Even if you don't have a lot of money, and the people who gave us $1, you know, like $5, that's a huge support to us as well. It just shows.
Yeah, if everyone on my Instagram gave 50 cents, we'd have this show out in like 2 months.
Oh, well, there it is.
Right?
Oh my
Everybody
gosh,
gives-
that would be so
Everybody give
crazy.
$1.
Yeah.
50
$1.
cents is.
And
Right.
also on our social media profiles, we just mentioned that at the top of the show, but the links to the Kickstarter are all on there. So you can just click on that link and donate. And, you know,
Check it
if you
out.
have any requests for maybe rewards that you'd like to see, and if we know anybody,
We
can
know
get
that
yeah.
we're up against a lot though right now with
Yeah.
the coronavirus
Coronavirus.
and the stocks down, and
Yeah.
we are not above borrowing and stealing and looking at like grants and
Yeah.
like have a bunch of other options that we are looking at
Right.
too, because we will make this show no matter
matter
what.
what.
And the support of the fans means so much, and it's a really great way for them to just thank us and show their support, and even just that $1 getting us closer to our goal. It's really
spreading the word.
appreciated.
Spreading
Yeah,
the
spreading the
word.
word.
Yeah.
So
When it
is-
comes through, Amy will be like, I see you.
So is there a difference between like you getting the money and putting the show that you have like 100% ownership versus selling the script and
So that's the idea. Like, if we were to get the money, it would be 100% us creating it.
Okay.
The minute you get anybody else involved, then you're
that
you're
percentage.
partnering that. But we also are very clear that we will not bring a partner in that does not share our vision. And we also know 100% we're making the show. So it's just the road to get there. We don't know what that looks like. We just know that's where we're going.
Now, as far as
amazing.
women's wrestling, we've seen a lot of changes throughout the years as far as advancements and improvements. Is there anything that you want to see that you haven't seen yet that you're like, can't wait till this happens?
Kayfabe.
Yes.
The big elephant in the room.
I mean, lots of things, you know. We'd like the pay equality to happen. I know that's like a very kind of generic equality thing, but it affected me, you know, in my career, and I'd love to see it get better for all the women out there. And because it is hard, like if we're main eventing and we're putting our bodies on the line as well, equally to the men, I feel like we should be compensated equally.
Yeah.
So
And let's talk a little bit about Tessa Blanchard as far as her career, how she started her career.
Yeah.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, how she did it was compared to anybody else is totally different. Like she pretty much took it by the balls and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be the person I am, and you could book me as is.
Yeah.
Do you think that should be the way for female wrestlers and wrestlers in general?
You
or
mean the intergender kind of thing?
The intergender, and just how she's, it just seems like she obviously she put in the work, but it just seems like she bursted on the scene, and she's just this force. Even being 24, she's just this force to be reckoned with, and she has these belts, and it's just like she's controlling her career versus the opposite.
I feel like Impact Wrestling has really given her an extra platform to do that and send that message out there, because it was actually their idea to go with the intergender and, you know, go in that direction, because they felt like she was capable and she had the talent to do that. And she did take that ball and run with it. But I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of miss her with the women. I like to see her mix it, because for intergender wrestling, for me, I'm a little old school in that regard. I don't mind it happening. I don't mind it happening for a storyline, as long as it's believable.
Right.
And the person has the capability and the talent to do so. But I like seeing the women wrestle the women, me personally. And maybe it's because I got my hands in it, and I like her and Taya just wrestled for the World Championship.
Another Canadian.
Yeah, amazing. I
keep track of all of them.
I know, you have a map.
I love her. She's just a star.
She is.
A
She's
star.
amazing.
Such a star.
And they wrestled for that championship, main evented, and they killed it. And I was
Both
so
of
proud
those women have that thing, and I can tell really most of the time. Some people throw me off, but most of the time I can tell if you are doing your thing or if you just like own that ring. Like watching Taya and Tessa, both of them, it's just like they're so comfortable in there, and they know that's exactly where they should be at that time. And just watching both of those women own the ring the way they do is it gets me high. Like watching it, like I was just like beaming, watching someone own the ring the way both of those women do. There's more, of course, but speaking about those two specifically.
Now, do you think WWE is going to get to that where it's intergender and not just
Not sure.
in a tag team? It's like the woman taps out, or the woman taps out, the woman man taps out. Like, is it going to be? Do you think they're ever going to get to that point?
I don't see it happening like Impact.
No.
Like maybe bits here and there, but
is there rules on the network on what they show?
I think a lot of their stuff has to do with sponsorship, but you know, when there wasn't that in place, I made quite a career with the intergender thing, and I know that they've sprinkled it in, but more in with NXT. So we haven't seen a lot of it on the main roster, and that may just be due to sponsorship things. So I mean, there's always new sponsorships and rules changing. I think based on what I've seen some stuff in NXT that they would be open to that, but I think you're right, Gail. Not the way that we've seen it in Impact.
Yeah, they like to push the envelope and try to think outside the box and do things that other people are not doing.
Amy's the perfect example where it really worked.
Yeah.
Like who she is, the story she was put in, like it just was like you were just fighting to see that. You were like excited to see that.
It made sense.
It made so much sense, and it was so believable.
But I was like a little like dodge and weave and quick and go under the, you know, and it would like get some cool stuff in, but I'm not going to stand toe to toe and like punch someone in the face and like stand there and be like, "What you got?"
Right.
I don't like that. Yeah, I want it to be believable.
Evangelina in the chat says, "What women's match are you excited about for WrestleMania?"
What are the women's matches?
I think we have Becky. We have Becky in there.
We have Rhea Ripley
and Ashley or Charlotte.
Yeah,
I really like.
I'm really
Rhea
excited
Ripley.
for that. Yeah.
I'll say that I'm honestly, whenever there's a whole show, I'm generally like girls match. You know, that's all we do. We did that on our live stream.
Yeah, we had a live stream. We were supposed to be talking about our Kickstarter. We're just like, enough. Hold on, no
girls match.
Girls match.
It's just more interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get into. Do you have one more question?
I just wanted to ask real quick, what advice would you give to a young wrestler, you know, looking at women, you know, on the screens, you know, little girls? What advice would you give to them if they want to be a wrestler one day?
I always give the same advice.
Go ahead, do it.
I know it sounds so boring, but I always tell them to have a backup, just because we don't know. You don't, even if you have a full career like we did, we're 43 and we're still
Paige.
like, I mean, Paige, look at Paige. You know, you just want to make sure that you have a backup, and maybe you can have a full career and then go on and produce, and hopefully we'll create some change where there's going to be more opportunity for more women to have the post in-ring career. But I always just tell everyone, go to school, have a skill, and then follow your dreams.
Be like Britt Baker.
Yes.
If their parents are there, I tell them to have a backup only because I feel like I'm going to get in trouble. But when they're not there, I don't have a plan B because I'll only have a plan A, and it's getting into the ring. And what I tell younger women or men, it's a non-gendered issue, is to see what sports you gravitate towards just because that hand-eye coordination. I'd say pick a martial art that you like. I did Muay Thai. I didn't really connect to that. I did Judo. I was like, okay, I connect to that, you know? And so any of those martial arts are going to help you have a background, working out in the gym, and just being athletic will give you a jump once you are, even if you're below 18 or before you can start into a wrestling school. And then the other thing I say is to, and this is hard because for you to be a wrestler, you have to watch wrestling like a student, not like a fan. And it's more fun to watch it like a fan.
This is true.
And so, but you have to dissect it and go, why did they do that? Why was this put there? And those things. So that's what I tell. But yeah, I put the backup plan if a parent's looking at me only. But that's not actually what I would say.
When I was in the developmental side of things, I found that when the women would try and go create this character that didn't feel true to themselves, or if they were just trying to come up with something that hasn't been seen, or they were trying to like do something outside of something that was innate in them, then it didn't connect as much. But when you really dig into the person, ask questions, even if it's like a Sue Young with this super cool character, right?
Amazing.
That's that's
two
innate.
now.
Yeah, so those are things that come out of her when I'm sure when you talk to her, you could find where that character lives inside of her. So I think with women, if you can dig into something that is true for them, then you can develop something like that, like Becky Lynch. You know, like watching her turn into that. It's like that is
The
her
man.
and in her.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to get into something called rapid hot tags.
Oh boy.
So,
All right, Gail. Gail's nervous right now.
Hang on.
I'm like, I need to think. I need the perfect
So
answer.
what's going to happen? So we'll have it organized. We'll start. Wait, do you want to be called Lita or Amy? I should ask
It
that
sounds
before.
the same to me at this point, so whatever comes out is fine. It's
So
fine.
we'll start with Lita, and then we'll start, and then I'll hit the next question, and we'll do that. So or if something pops to your mind, you could do that too. All right, so here we go. Always early or always late?
Always late.
Always early.
Always early.
What is the one thing you love about yourself?
Oh man, I'm first, right? I think my adaptability to just go with whatever's put in front of me.
My intensity.
I love loving people.
Oh, I love that.
Who would play you in a movie?
Kristen Stewart.
Oh, man. My first mind, of course, because everyone says it, but it's Lucy Liu.
Kate Hudson.
Last show
Look
you
how
binge.
intense the music's getting.
Last show you binge watched.
Binge watched? Oh boy.
Orange is the New Black.
Oh man.
Oh,
Binge watched.
my
Listen
brain
to
is
the music.
completely
Yeah.
freezing. I've been working so much, honestly. I cannot think about the last
The last
thing
show,
that
the last one. Could have been years. Last one.
No,
Go.
no, no,
You
no, no.
You hear how
Like a
intense the music is?
docu-series or anything?
Yeah,
like that?
anything.
Oh, the Netflix, the Justice for Gabriel.
Oh, the-
Oh, no,
Okay.
thank you. Oh, I didn't finish it. Don't Fuck with Cats on Netflix. Have you seen that?
I haven't
Yes,
seen that. I
That's
need to
really,
look
I
at it.
can't,
really
it
good.
terrified me. I had to turn it
It's
off.
really creepy and
We have
good.
to talk about this.
Yeah,
Is it about
yeah.
cats?
Yeah, off,
Okay.
no,
All right.
offline.
If you were a crayon, what color would you be?
What?
If you were a
Red.
crayon,
I
what
thought you
color
said if
would
you're
you be?
Korean.
Red.
I know. It's like this color right here.
A crayon.
Crayon, what color
I know
would
what
you
color
be?
you'd be.
Orange.
Yes.
Orange.
Really? Green.
Okay.
Red.
Red. She said red. She was shouting red.
Last question. If you could, if you were to listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Man.
Pink Floyd.
Which
Wall.
one?
The Wall.
Oh, this is a good one.
It's
I
the
don't
one.
listen
So
to
tough.
music.
See,
Yeah, Gail doesn't listen to
I know
music.
you're top 40.
Yes, I'm
so
top
it is
40,
top
yes.
40 of
Rihanna.
some.
Top 40
Okay.
mix or
We
Rihanna,
could
something.
do that.
whatever
Yeah,
Rihanna.
We'll do that.
Oh my God, I feel like I just have to say what I'm listening to right now, and I'd say Distiller's Coral Thing.
What is that?
I'll play it for you. You won't like it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm fine. We'll listen. We'll have a jam session.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, ladies, for coming in. Thank you, ladies, for taking part of this. We really, really
Yes,
appreciate
thank
this.
you.
Again, where can people find the stuff, donate ASAP? And is there a deadline to do the Kickstarter?
Yes.
We have, I think, 26 days, 25 to 26 days. And
You can see it if you go to Kickstarter and you search Kayfabe. You'll go straight to the page. It's got all the information on it. We have like about 20-something days.
Our deadline is 1 hour from now, so just get on
just
there.
many dollars as possible.
Go ahead. Exactly. All of our socials are at This Is Kayfabe.
Okay. Wait, all your socials is
all of them.
Yeah, all of them are the same.
At
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
All our socials are This Is Kayfabe.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And then for people who are not following you guys, which you should be, I mean,
then just follow us.
Yeah. Follow us. Where can they find you?
Just Google. I'm Amy Dumas. It's on my name, or I'm Machete Girl on Instagram because that was my nickname in Nicaragua. So I stuck.
I feel like there's stories to go.
Yeah, I know.
There is. It's next episode.
Twitter and Instagram, Gail Kim. It's me.
I'm Hemme Powered.
Awesome. There you go.
There you go. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. I definitely look forward to watching Kayfabe. End of year. Too. Cross fingers. And then all my ideas of you guys being in the ring, but we'll talk about that later.
We're going to have a rewrite now based on your ideas.
I'm just saying, you just call me. I have ideas. I could shoot the ball to you. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Miss Emily Mae, where can they find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms at Emily Mae Heller.
And don't forget to follow us on everything at WPW Weekly on Instagram and all that good stuff. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we want you to follow us on everything that we do. We have amazing interviews coming down the pipe, as well as iTunes, all that good stuff. 5 stars or better because we don't take anything less. We thank you guys for doing this show or coming on the show from the very, very beginning. Without you, we wouldn't be the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. It's because of you guys. Thank you guys so much again for joining us. My name is TK Trinidad. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Till next time, guys. Ciao.
Bye. From executive producer Kevin Undergaro, producer TK Trinidad, and me, Maria Menounos, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Women's Wrestling Weekly. To help TK, the crew, and women's wrestling in general, we ask that you subscribe, rate, and comment on Women's Wrestling Weekly at Apple Podcasts and subscribe to our AfterBuzz TV wrestling channel on YouTube for this and other outstanding wrestling content. Buzz you later.